Okay, today we're going to talk about tripods and the different tripods that we have here at the school and different tripods that are out there. Tripod comes from the Latin or Greek words, tri meaning three and pod meaning foot. Now, it seems like one of them is tripodus. Anyway, there's different things, but the ones that we use is called a tripod, and it comes from the Greek and the Latin, meaning three-footed or three-legged. Three legs. So let's look at a tripod. This is a tripod. Tripods are used to hold your camera steady. So you can put it down, you can take long exposures, and that's why you're going to want a tripod, to take long exposures. If you have darker light or whatever it might be, you'll be using a tripod. The other reason you use a tripod is not just for long exposures, is let's say that you want to be in it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull this up. I just thought of this, but that picture back there, I used a tripod for that. That's the picture of my family, of us out in front. So in our living room, but I'm using a tripod, and so I put on a tripod, I run around, I shot the picture, and then I actually had to Photoshop because I couldn't get my dog. Let's see if I can zoom in. Nope, can't zoom in. Okay, so because I was trying to get my dog, and she kept looking at me. So as I'd go back behind, she'd look up at me. So that's actually two different photos. One with the dog looking at the camera, and then one with me back there where she's, yeah. Anyway, so it's a composite. So let's talk about tripods. Tripods, the three-legged things that we use to hold our cameras. Let me talk about the body parts of a tripod. Now these will collapse down to something a little bit smaller. This part right here is called the head. These are called the legs. This is called the foot. And then this part right here, this middle part, that's called the neck, because it holds the head. You can extend the neck, and then you've got the head that's going to be taller up top. So let's look now. Oh, and then this part right here, the head, this is called the quick release, and this is called the quick release plate. And the quick release plate can go on the bottom of your camera, and then you can quickly undo it, take it off, put it back on and off. So that's called the quick release plate. Now, when these come and go, the things that we miss the most, tripod comes back okay, but the head is missing, and so we just have to be careful with it. That comes back with it. Okay, now let's talk about how to get these on the bottom of your camera. So that's one of the tripods. We'll get into that in a second. So let's talk about how do we get these onto the head of the camera, or onto the underneath the camera, the quick release plate. So if you notice though, there's a screw right there, and it's probably not going to focus in. That's okay. And then there's a hole right there that you can then put that inside of and screw it down on top of it. Now this is one of our nicer tripods. This of the three tripods, this is the nicest one that we've got. When you put that down, you then need to use like a nickel or something, or a screwdriver, or an Allen wrench can go inside of that to help tighten that down, so that way it's tight on the bottom of the camera. Now let's put this on the quick release head. I'm going to raise up the neck on this tripod. Does that go tall enough? Yeah, that's kind of tall enough for right now. Okay, so basically this is going to go onto it. It's going to slide inside of that, and then this part's going to tighten down onto it. Okay, so now you have it on the tripod. Now, a couple things to think about on this tripod. That this one has some adjustments. One of the adjustments is this knob up here. That first knob, I'm going to take that off so we can see this stuff better. That top knob, let's see if I get a little closer. That top knob is what clamps down onto that quick release plate, so that way it holds the camera onto it. Camera is connected to the quick release plate. The quick release plate gets clamped into there, and that's what holds onto it. Now this one is a nice one because it's a ball head. It's a ball head. So what that means is this has a little ball right there. So as you loosen this, you can put that the way you want to have it. So if you want your camera to be kind of slightly tilted or canted, that you can do that. Okay. If you want to point your tripod down or your camera down, look right there. See that little divot? That, because it's a ball head, it gets caught right there, but it can slide down further down that thing. See that? And so if you want to point it down, or if you want to point it up, you'd have to turn it around, point your camera up. But that's what that's for. And then there's three different knobs on here. One knob, this bottom one, allows you to twist it left and right. Okay, you don't want it to twist left and right, tighten that bottom one up, and it won't be able to twist left and right. Okay, and then this one is what releases the ball head, so you can move it around, okay, and it'll tighten up. Now this one is for micro adjustments of that ball head. So usually I just keep this kind of down slightly tight, and then I use this one a lot. Okay, so that is one of them with one of the heads. Okay, let's talk about this one right here. I'm going to drop that down. Okay, so this one right here, it has a quick release plate on it as well. It slides up. This thing, let's see if I can turn it. This thing pops out, okay, because that comes out like this, and then you can pop that up, okay. Now this is going to go on the bottom of the tripod, or the bottom of the camera, but instead of needing an Allen wrench or something, this actually has a little tab that flips up, and then you can twist it with your hand. Now it doesn't get as tight as the other one, but it still works. Okay, now when you put this on, here's what you gotta be careful of. I've seen people put their cameras on this, put the quick release plate in here, pop it down, and then the camera falls off. So what you have to make sure that you do is you have to make sure that you put the front of it in first. Okay, so it slides in, and then back here as I push down, watch what happens when I tighten it down. I push down. Okay, it tightens it in, it cranks it in and it tightens it. Okay, now you can, if you don't put it up front first and you just put that on there, you can actually, see if I can get to do it. Oh sure, once the camera goes out, it doesn't want to work. So you can actually push onto that and it'll clamp down, but your front end's not in, so it'll fall right back out. Okay, now to get this to turn left and right, there is this knob right there. Undo that, and then you can turn it left and right. Okay, if you want to go up and down, there's this one. Take it up and down, and if you want to cant it means tilting it sideways. You can undo that top one, and then you can tilt this. Now we hardly ever do that with these tripods, so that one's still kind of hard to turn. Okay, and then let me show you the bottom one. This is the bottom of the line one. The first one's roughly 80 bucks. No, sorry. The first one was like 130 bucks. The second one was about 80 bucks-ish. And then this right here, this one actually came for free, but if you're going to buy it, it'd be about $15, $20. But there's some advantages to having something like this. This is a lot easier to take with you than one of the other ones because of how light it is. And so you have to decide on how serious you are with your stuff or not. And then it's got the same things where you can twist it left and right. With this one, twist it left and right. This one goes up and down. And it has a quick release head on it as well. Now let's look real quick at, this is where we run into the problems. Let me show you on these two ones. If you want to extend the legs longer, what you're going to do is you're going to pop this out, and then this will slide in and out, okay? I notice how there's two of them, so you can open that up, slide it out, right there, lock it down, that one, lock it down. Okay, now these ones do not get broken as much on the legs. These other ones, the more expensive one, gets broken much more often. And that's because when you do it, you do a quarter turn. Instead of having the lever that pops up, you do a quarter turn. So what we're gonna do is about a quarter turn, and then it'll slide in. Then we're gonna clamp it down. About a quarter turn, okay? What happens is somebody goes, oh, it's not pulling out. So they continue to adjust until it falls all the way out. Then they pull it out and it pops all the way off and they lose pieces. We have had a lot of problems with these, but they're more expensive ones because people go more than a quarter turn, okay? Quarter turn to a half is what you're gonna do. No more. If you start twisting it, undoing it, that's too far, okay? Okay, anyway, those are tripods. So let's talk about the parts again real quick. This is the foot. These are the legs. Okay, this right here is the neck. That part right there is the neck. This is the head right here, and this is the quick release. This is the quick release head that attaches to that. Okay, or not. Sorry, the quick release plate that attaches to the head right here. Okay, those are tripods.